Food is not the enemy. Social media is the enemy. And if you are an able-bodied person out there complaining about your life and complaining that you can't do anything to change it, stay away from me. Stop comparing yourself so much to people whose literal genetics, they could go to the gym twice a week and get the dream body that you want, that you would have to go 5 times a week for it.
No such thing as a life that's better than yours. Left yours. No such thing as a life that's better than yours. No such thing, no such thing.
Jump everyone, welcome back, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about the obsession with being skinny is rooted in white supremacy and also the life of Sarah Baartman. So without further ado, let's get started. The main reason why I wanted to make this video is because of this TikTok right here.
As someone who recently got back in the gym and is like trying to consume more gym content, the new gym girls or gym influencers are mean as hell. The calling everybody a big back and fat as hell and you need to starve, like what is going on? I don't like to be bullied into motivational content. Like I don't like that. Imagine being someone who's really trying to lose weight and just like constantly getting bullied and hearing how fat you are. I want that to stop. It's weird.
And I couldn't agree more with her when she talks about how toxic the gym culture is in today's age. Everybody's saying you have to be skinny, you need to starve yourself, you're a big back, you can't have sweets, you can't have sugar, you have to restrict your food. Like there are so many rules in the fitness community and it actually gets quite daunting. I feel that people also don't see the connection and the relation between wanting to be skinny, BBL culture, all this other stuff. It's really all rooted in white supremacy. I had also made a similar reel that I've already posted on my account, but essentially in that video I was talking about how nobody is ever satisfied with their body, and that's essentially what I see when it comes to the gym community. Everybody is always so gung-ho on trying to get their perfect body type, on doing an hour of cardio, on doing this and that. I'm never saying to knock any of the hard work that you're doing or to discount any of the work that you're putting in for yourself, but where it does get to a certain point is where we start feeding off of that obsession of wanting to be skinny. What is the obsession with wanting to be skinny? I have talked to so many people who have unfortunately gone through eating disorders and even seen online with people talking about how at their skinniest they were in the worst mental mindset that they could be in. So why would I put that on myself? So with saying that as well, you can see the rise in trad life but also the rise in conservatism throughout Gen Z. In saying that, we see, Nara Smith, Ballerina Farm, and all those other people who are showing the life of trad lives, but they're also kind of hiding the behind the scenes of what really goes on. A lot of y'all can say that I am a part of that soft culture and wanting to be, having that soft life, that I'm more traditionally conservative. If that's how you want to say it, go ahead. Me as a black woman and wanting to have a family and, a father figure in their life makes me conservative, go ahead. I know I'm not conservative by any means, but in the sense of, I saw really well on Love is Blind where people were talking about, they talked about how you're liberal when it comes to financial, but you're conservative when it comes to everything else. I don't do that. Like, come on now. But yes, of course, I do have the mindset of the men should be providing everything and I should sit back and look pretty because I'm the prize. But then again, we can also see the rise of Pilates and solid core and all these, I would say, very expensive type of working out that you really have to look at the facts. Who are the main people going to these types of clubs and workout events? Rich white people, or even just rich people in general. And a lot of the times black women such as myself don't necessarily have the means right now to be able to even afford something along those lines that is that expensive, which is why you can say that these new types of workouts can be considered exclusive to only people who are rich and that can afford it. So what does that mean? That means that people who can afford it and attain that lifestyle are going to do anything by any means necessary to be able to be a part of that soft life culture. But what I really want everybody to see the linkage between them is that being soft and having the soft life and being rich at the same time, we have to look at who our president is today, what is trending and what's most popular, being skinny. I also just want to tie this in real quick. We're going to be talking about this later within the video, but also the culture that the Kardashians had over America. They had a chokehold on what our bodies should look like. Obviously back in the 2010s, that whole family had BBLs and they just had a very accentuated body. Now we can see how wanting to be skinny is now rooted in America and we can't really get past it. I would say that this shift kind of started back in 2022 when Kim Kardashian went to the Met Gala and she said that she lost 21 pounds in 3 weeks or something to be able to fit into the dress. And I think that is what ultimately started people wanting to lose such mass amounts of weight in such a short amount of time, because obviously if they see famous people being able to do so, they want to do it for themselves, but we don't have the same money as these famous people. That's what we need to understand. So relating this to Sarah Baartman, who is she and what does she have to do with this story, and why am I even relating this story / this video to her in the first place? If you didn't know, Sarah Baartman was born in 1789, where she later died in 1815. She was a part of an exhibition or a part of a freak show at a circus where she had very prominent figure. So the reason why she had the figure that she did, it says that it had what is called statopagia. I butchered that so bad, resulting in extremely protuberant buttocks due to built up fat. So she basically had the body, especially at this time, that everybody wanted. I'm going to be reading off of, a little script that I wanted to include in this video. Essentially, it's saying you have to remember at the time it was highly fashionable for women to have large bottoms, so lots of people envied what she had naturally without having to accentuate her figure. And also we can see this later on with the time period and how people were dressing, which we'll talk about a little bit later. It also says that in 1814, Baartman was sold to S. Roux, an exhibitor in Paris, France, where the public showings continued. Roux allowed patrons to sexually abuse Baartman, making a significant profit off of her mistreatment. She was also examined by scientists. Baartman died in Paris in 1815 at the age of 26. After Baartman's death, scientists preserved her body for many years. Her remains were displayed in a museum in Paris to support racist theories surrounding those of African ancestry. In 1994, Nelson Mandela, the president of South Africa, asked France to return Baartman's remains to South Africa. In 2003, France agreed, and Baartman's remains were buried near her birthplace in Eastern Cape Province. So with saying all that, we can obviously get kind of a scope on what her life was like, and how with having such a prominent figure like that, it can automatically make you a target for people being jealous of you, especially if that was the desired body type at the time. So in this section, I'm going to be calling it white women culture, and the only reason why I'm calling it that is because it seems like, especially now when we have TikTok and Instagram and all these other social media websites that can, share information at such a fast speed, I almost see it as bonnet culture being similar to the Tin Young Law. And I was going to make a whole separate video about that, but I'm still debating about it. But in the sense of, we see so many of the times that black women will start a trend, or they will literally start something. They are the blueprint for everything. We are called ghetto for it. White women then take it upon themselves to rebrand it in their own culture, and now it's looked at as sophisticated and cool and something new, but on us it was considered ghetto. And that's exactly what I'm talking about in the terms of like bonnets. There's even this video where this girl said, let me take my bonnet off real quick. And then now there are these what is under my bonnet, and it's a whole bunch of racially ambiguous people showing us, oh, you're one of us. You're not, obviously you're part of one of them, but one drop rule. I've already made a video about that. You're one of us. So it's just very interesting to see the dynamics on how black women can start something and we're considered ghetto for doing it, but white women can do something and it's all the craze. The reason why I said that is because it seems like a lot of the times white women capitalize off of black women culture. And with saying this, we can obviously see, I was doing my history more from the 1830s, early 1840s, all the way until the 19th century. We can see how Sarah Baartman and her body played a huge role on the fashion standard back then. Back then, women would have these corset dresses where their waists were super slim, but they just had this big old hump in the back. And obviously, what is that emulating? Sarah Baartman. These women, it literally said, envied the body that she had because she was able to attain it naturally. So do you really think that they're not going to go out of their way to try to make it seem like they are similar to her in some type of sense? So with saying that, it just shows that we will be called ghetto for something. Even though we started it, it will be rebranded and it'll be sophisticated in white culture. And this is also where the word culture vulture comes around, because a lot of the times, if you don't take this personally, then you can't get offended, but white women are culture vultures. They go and they see the different cultures that people have, and then they steal it from them. And then we're considered ghetto for it. I think y'all have been seeing where it's like the brown lip liner and then the lip gloss, and that's like a new trend. Now we're called ghetto for it, even though we've been doing it for years on end. So it's just little things like that where it's like, come on now. So with saying this and how white women would copy the things of black women, this also is proven when it comes to BBL culture and how, black women already naturally have the body type that a lot of people want, which is why they have to go get surgery for these things. This is why I say I am so incredibly grateful to not only be black, but to be African as well. And, to have full lips like these. Do you see these lips? People pay to get lips like mine. People pay to get the body like mine. And this is also where I'm talking about gym culture, where it's so toxic, where you have to be skinny and you have to have a six-pack all the time. I don't. don't. And I'm more confident with myself for having this body type because I know that I love myself at every single body stage, and that me shaming my body right now for how it looks, even if it isn't my ideal or desired body type, isn't going to get me anywhere. And this is also where I'm saying that so many people have body issues now because they are constantly comparing themselves to people on social media. And this is where I also say, especially in the terms of having an eating disorder, food is not the enemy. Social media is the enemy. Constantly comparing yourself to everybody else, especially people who literally get paid to do this as a job. Comparing yourself to them is not going to get you anywhere. You have to love yourself enough and to elevate yourself enough to be able to be yourself around those types of people that you look up to. That is why I'm so gung-ho in always staying true and authentic to myself, because who would I be if I changed myself just to be around certain groups of people? I don't want to do that. So tying this back to what I was talking about and Kim Kardashian and the whole Kardashian family having such a chokehold on what bodies should look like, this is why it's related. We can see that so many of the times certain body types will go in style and out of style. And I think we're just in one of those phases of it going out of style, and in a couple of years it'll come right back. But like I said, with the rise of conservatism and who our president is and the kind of, day and age that we're in right now with the trad life culture and soft life and all this other stuff, we can obviously see that being skinny is connected to being white and is also connected to white supremacy. Back in the 2010s, what was popular? Lip filler, big butts, big boobs, having a curvy figure, BBL culture. I'll just say it simply like that. BBL culture is what was so popular, and I honestly think that with being skinny, I'd rather have it be BBL culture where, not that people are necessarily getting BBLs, but they're wanting to have the look of a BBL. Essentially eating enough food to sustain the muscle on you, which means hitting your protein, making sure that, you're lifting weights, you're lifting heavy, progressively overloading, and doing those types of things. Now we are transitioning slowly into core power, solid power. I don't even know if those are different. Pilates, different types of working out that aren't heavy weights and that will avoid you from giving you that bulky look. Give me the bulky look. I want to look strong at all times. I don't want to look dainty and skinny. And I've said it so many times, which is why I also had the idea of making this video in the first place, is because I'm like, why are we so obsessed with being skinny? And then I realized that it's rooted in white supremacy. Wanting to just be skinny in a sense of having a curvier and bigger built like myself. I've said it so many times that being skinny does not look right on me. I look like a damn bobblehead with being skinny and having no weight on me. Trust me, I've gone through it before. I'm probably even including pictures here right now of how skinny I was and how it just doesn't look good on me. That is why I saw who I was when I was skinny, and I don't want to repeat that. I don't want to be back in that mindset where me thinking I'm fat because of my ex telling me that I take too much food. Yeah. When I was literally at my skinniest and having my ex basically call me fat because I took a lot of food. Honey, I was just trying to get back up to my maintenance weight, all right? And that is going to be needed by eating food, not starving myself. This is also why I say it can get so messy when it comes to social media and who we look up to. And this is also why I feel like I have kind of geared away towards my fitness account, because yes, I've gone viral and yes, I have gained a substantial following, but within that and with saying that is that there's no community within my following. And that's the one thing I'm still trying to grow towards. But I, of course, wanted to go viral, but I think going viral for fitness is one of those harder aspects where now you have to keep up. Now you have to be a gym baddie. Now you have to buy all the new clothes. You want to be sponsored and all this stuff. And it's like this pressure that me taking 18 credits right now while still filming YouTube videos, still posting online, going to school, paying bills, it's not attainable right now. And that's why I've told people, your girl needs a little bit of a break. I'm tired. My gym is now 20 minutes away. So now I have to factor in a 40-minute drive there and back and be able to really allocate my time properly to do the things that I want to do. And with saying that, there just isn't enough time in the day with doing everything that I'm doing to do that. And am I beating myself up and hating myself because I can't go to the gym 5 times a week anymore? No. I'm grateful if I'm even able to go to the gym 3 times a week, because that is how busy I am. Homework is more important at this time, because who I want to be in the future will matter so much more with the work that I'm putting in now, rather than obsessing over my body and all this other stuff when you never know, because it could be taken from you in the blink of an eye. I cannot say more how grateful I am to be an able-bodied person. And if you are an able-bodied person out there complaining about your life and complaining that you can't do anything to change it, stay away from me. Because the fact that we're even alive, that we're awake, that we're able to do things for ourselves, walk around, go to the gym. Those are luxuries as an able-bodied person. So why would I beat myself up if I'm not able to do that one thing because I'm doing something that's going to benefit me more in the future? Of course, consistency matters, but I am not so heavily focused, and I also don't have all the time in the world like I used to be able to just go to the gym like that. So that is why I give myself grace, and I think that y'all should be able to do the same thing with yourselves instead of beating yourself up, all right? So when talking about white supremacy, I kind of want to, close everything and connect everything together. The reason why I say that being skinny is rooted in white supremacy is because we have to look at the current time period that we're in right now. Like I've reiterated so many times, who is our president? What is the popular trend right now, which is conservatism? And how is that slowly shifting to now everybody wanting to be skinny and to be a part of this soft life culture where weight training is now kind of looked down upon and people would rather go and do Pilates and pay those expensive prices. And if you got the money, I'm not talking about you, but I'm talking about people like me where it's like right now, we already have enough things to worry about and enough things going on in our life that worrying about if we can afford Pilates or whatever, that will come in the future, babes. That will come in the future. Stop stressing yourself out now because you can't do the things that people get paid to do. Obviously, you need to put in the work right now to get to where you want to go, but to the people who have that money and they're able to just spend it, let them spend it. We're not talking about them. We're talking about the connection and how white supremacy is rooted in these soft life culture aspects. And also, why is it deemed as Black women never being able to appreciate those soft life culture things is because they're always supposed to be looked at as knowing how to do everything and having to do everything on their own. With saying that, if you're already doing everything on your own, how are you going to have the time to be able to do those expensive activities? It also makes it feel like we're not allotted the same grace to be able to show up to these spaces, if you know what I mean. If you picking up what I'm putting down. I think also with saying that it's rooted in white supremacy is now that there is this like submissive culture and wanting to embrace our femininity, and looking at gym culture isn't considered feminine. So I think that's where a lot of people are getting, tripped up about, okay, well now I have to keep up with this feminine lifestyle and this and this and that, which again, like I've said multiple times, is rooted in white supremacy. We can also see how the life of Sarah Baartman and how her being used as a caricature then bleeds into the history later on, because as we've seen from, the 1830s all the way up until the 1900s, her body type is what white women were trying to emulate when it came to the dresses that they were putting on. Even if you look at the undergarments that were used, it's a big ass poofy thing to make sure that they have that figure that they want. Then they would wear tight corsets so their boobs would be popping out, they'd be skinny down here, and then have a big butt. But really under all that, it wasn't. This also goes to say that genetics plays a very, very, very crucial role in it. Yes, is it possible to get thick? Of course it is. But if you are naturally thick, aka African, and I will say that because depending on where in Africa, I'll say West Africa. If you're West African, aka me, I'm Liberian, it's a lot easier to attain the lifestyle and the body that we want because of the genetics that we have. If you look at Liberian women, we are naturally a lot more curvier. So yeah, having a big butt for us isn't really out of the norm in a sense, but in the same way, this is where I say like, stop comparing yourself so much to people whose literal genetics, they could go to the gym twice a week and get the dream body that you want, that you would have to go 5 times a week for it. So stop comparing yourself. This is also where I just want to reiterate so much. Love your body where you're at. Stop being so mean to your body. Your body already does enough for you. And I also want to say, you are already thinking so negatively about your own body when you could just give it love. For real. Just give your body love. And I also just saw a video before even like filming this and before making the script on Ice Spice being thick again. And I wanted to talk about that, on how her being this racially ambiguous, Black woman from New York and in the music industry and all that stuff, her being skinny did not fit her brand. When your appeal for people to look at you and the reason why you're popular is because of your body, people don't like skinny body if your whole body is built off of being thick and, showing it off and twerking and all that other stuff. It doesn't hit the same when you're skinny versus when you're thick, which is also why I say that being skinny is rooted in white supremacy, because Ice Spice, in that sense, with her being skinny, she started shifting more towards like the white gaze, I guess, and like the white audience, but her music style and her persona didn't match the white supremacy lifestyle. The white, where I'm trying to say this in the sense of she gains so much from being racially ambiguous and a light-skinned Black woman that she's going to be afforded those same privileges of being up in society, but when her body started shifting, she's not going to be treated the same because, girl, that's what we're all looking at. So when you shift back to her being thick, and even if people don't listen to her music, if people were only looking at you for your body, and she has a very nice body, very curvy, very body's tea, I have to give her that. But with saying that, going thick again, it's like, okay, she's going back to her brand and kind of what people know her for. And that's exactly why I say is that a rapper, especially a black woman who's a rapper who's light skinned, doesn't fit in that white audience, that white genre, if that makes sense. So which is why she had to shift back to being black again. And I say this because like even when I went to the Ice Spice concert, all the men who were at Barricade were middle-aged grown men who barely even knew the words to her song, and we all know the reason why they were actually there. So if she's not following that black aesthetic, that curvy body, and you know, sexualizing herself, she's gonna lose her audience, which is why I think she became thick again. Because you can say, oh, she worked out. She did not work out. Sorry, I just have to say it. Homegirl did not work out like that. And if she did, she was on a severe calorie deficit on top of working out. But from that little video she shared, that was not working out. But all right, to each their own. So with saying this and to end the video off, I'm choosing to stay thick. Am I obviously going to probably like watch what I eat and all this other stuff? Yes, but at the same time, I'm not going to restrict myself. I'm not a girl who restricts herself. I eat good African food almost every day, every other day, and that has palm oil in it. Palm oil is very calorically dense. So am I losing weight anytime soon? Probably not. But I'm completely fine with that. And that's where it's also like, I like being thick. I like eating my little sweet treat after dinner. I still like going to the gym. I do the Stairmaster. I still lift heavy. I still do what I need to do. But am I gonna have that flat six-pack stomach? No. I could if I wanted to, but you know, I do my core workouts. I do what needs to be done. I was even like a little sore. I was coughing and my core was like, you know, activated and stuff. I was like, whoa, chill out. But I like being thick, and I'm probably gonna stay thick for the rest of my life. Like a little slim thick with your cute ass. But like with saying that, my maintenance is around like 160 to 180. I'd say like that range is like my norm. And if I go under 160, I know something's wrong. Like I've said so many times throughout this video, everybody just needs to love their body the way that it's at, because especially if you're a bigger person and you're trying to be skinny so quickly, so fast, how are you going to appreciate all the work that you're putting in right now? You're not, because you're so focused on an end goal that's all the way in the future that you can't even focus on what you have right now, which is being an able-bodied person and being able to go to the gym and work out if you are an able-bodied person. And even if you aren't, we're alive. So that's all I have to say. Without me rambling too much longer, I really hope y'all enjoyed this video, and I'll see y'all in my next one. Bye, y'all.